Okay.
What? Which tea do you want? I don't
I'll
care.
just take this one. It's fine.
I friggin' have this one because you seem
Is
less
one of the
complaining.
teas way sweeter than the other tea?
I don't friggin' know, man.
Neither of them are sweet.
You mean you didn't put sugar in either?
I did.
I don't taste it.
Do you want to go up and get your own sugar then?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's start.
Where?
We're good.
This is what I live with, by the way.
Yes.
Friggin', what do you want? You want 6 sugars again? Do you want 6?
Yeah, there was a time. It's actually really funny.
Oh, we're telling this story, okay. Cool.
Yeah. You know how Ciaran and I do the youth project?
The youth project, yeah?
Yeah. We did an overnight one time in
Woodstown,
which is a little beach area.
Okay.
And we had a bunch of young people, and I was making tea for myself. So, I poured in the milk, or no, I poured in the water and the sugar. And then I really had to feel like I could not wait until I finished making my cup of tea in 2 seconds.
Your cup of tea?
Cup of tea.
My cup of tea.
Cuppajen.
I'm really, 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 really glad you're here. Because it validates everything I stand for. Continue. Your cup of tea.
So I was like, Ciaran, will you finish making me a cup of tea? And he was like, yes, yeah, sure. Came back, took a sip of the tea. I was like, this is really sugary. Did you put sugar in it? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so did I. And I take 3 sugars, so I put in 3 sugars.
And he put in 3
3
sugars.
sugars.
So it was 6 sugars.
So it was 6
It
sugars.
was the nicest cup of tea I ever had.
For like a solid
Sweet
2-3
tea.
weeks, you were just drinking it with 6 cups of sugars, and it was like, this probably isn't great for you.
It's probably
It was
not the
so-
best, but cheers.
No.
Cheers.
Oh, no, hang on, no, you can't. Back it up.
Okay, there you go.
Cheers.
Hi everyone, welcome to cuppajen.
Can't wait to find out how this starts.
Yes, I am your host, Jenessa Galbraith. So, I
Hosting
have
us.
2 guests with me today. What are your names, you guys?
Phil.
Jack.
Phil, give me some. Okay, we do have
Ciaran.
we have to go into that.
Ciaran,
Okay,
or
Ciaran.
Or Ciaran.
Not Kieran.
I
Ciaran.
respond to either name in life.
Ciaran.
Ciaran.
Because there's the Fada. The Fada?
Fada.
Yeah, and Jack. Or
Yeah.
Jaclyn.
Jackie.
And Jack. No one calls you Jackie.
No, for a reason. That's how Jack started, because someone, I can't remember who it was, but like, I'm going to call you Jackie, and I was like, just call me Jack.
Please don't ever.
It was in a panic. Just don't. No Jackie.
No
Thank you very
Jackie
much.
for that, hey? I love
By the way.
that. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking.
Push the button to let
Okay.
me know.
Okay. Well, I love it because I like calling you Jack, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, who I would be if I called you Jackie. I feel like it'd be a very different...
I don't think I respond.
It's nothing against Jackie. It's just not you.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I mean?
Because like,
It's like when
call me
people
Jackie
call
as a
me...
child, and I was like, I'm not old enough to be a Jackie.
Well, it's like when people
Or
call
young
me,
enough.
like, Vanessa. Like, that's a cool name. It's just not mine. Like,
I'm
it's
Ven.
fine. Like, Ven...
I'm so gonna call you Venny.
Oh, Vinny.
But okay, to be in fairness, one of my besties in high school used to call me Jennifer just for the sake of it. I think just because as many nicknames as I can get, the better, and it was working.
That's how I feel about
And
Phil.
so, yeah. So explain Phil, Ciaran. Explain that to everyone.
See, it's not really an interesting story. It's
Really
just kind of
not.
like a funny little tidbit
Okay,
about...
I like a tidbit.
It's just kind of like my kind of humor.
Uh-huh.
But, so we're doing volunteer work
Uh-huh.
In the youth project.
in the youth project.
Again.
Where we volunteer.
All
That's where
the
we spend like
time.
all our time.
All the time.
Can't even lie, we spend like all our time there. But
Can't even lie.
And we're going around a circle doing a check-in, which is where you like, you say name, this, that, the other thing.
How
Maybe
you're doing?
yeah, there might be a question like what you're looking forward to this week, something like that, something cutesy. And so we're going around and because it was like the first week when we were trying to get to know everyone or
Yeah.
something like that, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, I'm Phil, and I'm an alcoholic. As a joke.
Ciaran!
I know. Okay, let's be honest. I'm Irish.
Let's
Which
point
one-
it
In place, these were a group of.
These were a group of people
They-
who
well,
I knew would be
They were
well
about 11
received.
at the time. They were probably 11 to 15
That
at
doesn't
the
make
time.
it sound much better.
It wasn't
Ah.
it wasn't
I knew it'd be well
Great.
well received.
Great.
So I said it as a joke, and they started calling me Phil.
Yeah.
So now they call me like every kind of Phil
Dr.
out there.
Phil.
Primarily
Phil
it's Dr.
Thompson.
Phil. No,
Yeah.
primarily it's Dr. Phil.
Sometimes,
Nice.
sometimes
But-
Uncle Phil.
Like to other people, the name Ciaran is so freaking hard to say.
Yeah.
So it's just
Especially
like Phil. Like in Starbucks today, it was like, it's Phil. Because I said Ciaran when I was with Sean in like Seven Oaks, and she was like, "What? How'd you spell that?" And I was like, "Just put down Phil. Just do it."
Ah,
It was-
It's Phil.
And it was so funny because she was like, Phil, are you sure? But you, like,
So they're like,
definitely Phil.
how'd you get?
It's Ciaran, but Phil for sure.
How'd you get Phil from Ciaran? Like, oh, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Don't worry about
it.
it.
though. Don't
What?
worry.
It's like how you get Dick from Richard. That's a very
Dick
good-
from Richard?
Yeah.
Oh, Dick from Richard.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that was.
Oh.
It's true though, because like, how did it become?
It's an
Like,
old, it's an old English
Dick.
thing. It's an old English thing where they used to
Rich
swap
Dick.
out letters. So
Yeah,
like
I know.
Will becomes Bill and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's
but
English for you. They
Then
don't
again,
make
neither
sense.
does Jennifer from Janessa. Neither
Well,
does
Jen-
Carol from
I-
Ciaran.
Jenny,
yeah.
Jennifer. Like I have Jennifer friends that I call Jenny.
Mhm.
So it's like I can
Yeah,
see where.
Jenny makes sense.
Yeah, but like I can
Because
see.
that's the nickname.
Yeah, but like you're
But
Jenny,
Jennifer,
so yeah, but you're
before
Jen.
Janessa is not shorter. and
Yeah,
not
but did
a
she
helpful
know that your
nickname.
name was actually Jenessa, or was everyone just calling you Jenny? So she just put two and two together, being like, "Oh,
Yeah, no,
maybe it
he-
equals Jennifer." But
Well, okay,
it's
let's
not
go
right.
through it. There's JJ, Jenessa, obviously full name. Don't need to explain that. Jenny, J Gal, because my last name's Galbraith. Jenny Gal, because Jenny and then Galbraith, Jenny Gal.
and all two are females, so you know that kind of
Jennifer.
works.
Is that it? Is that it for first name? And then there's just random like
When your
things.
parents call you Jenessa, they just forget that
Janess.
ass.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah,
no
I just like it. I just find that really cool. It's like
Yeah. For
like
the
the
longest time, it was always like at school was Jen. It was always Jen. And so when my mom heard my friends at school calling me Jen, she was like kind of low key salty about it because she was just
Yeah.
like, oh, like Janessa is such
that's
a
how
cool
Jackie,
name.
that's how Jackie ended. It was like
Yeah, we're not doing
Jackie.
Jackie.
No.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it because I just, for me, because I'm so ridiculously people pleasing and me, I kind of like, I was like, oh, they accept me. It's a nickname. I was like,
I'm
yeah.
one of them.
Yeah, like if people like the first day they're like, oh, like, and then it's like easier because Janessa gets confusing, but Jen is easier for people to get. Like Jack is easier for
Yeah.
people to get. I don't know why. So that's what it became.
Because friggin' no one understands how to actually spell your name.
No.
Mhm.
Charlie's Angels,
Well,
man.
mine-
Charlie's Angels.
Jaclyn.
That's literally where I came from. Charlie's
Yeah.
Angels.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaclyn Smith.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My name came about because I kid you not, this is how like hilariously dramatic my family is that my parents were like waiting and waiting to discover, quote unquote, discover my name, whatever that means.
You had to wait for Jesus to tell them.
They were like, yeah, exactly. Jesus, what's her name? Tell me the name. I love it. Well, pretty much though. Like realistically though, pretty much though, because it's just like they were praying about it, thinking about it, and they were just like listening to
Were
names.
you born at this stage?
No,
or-
no. This is like
Okay.
my mom was pregnant and she was
Okay.
walking around, and I don't know. They like both were arguing about it. Like, what do we name her? And then I don't know why, but this is so random. But there was like a kid playing like, I don't know, some game with their sister in like the grassy area out front of their house, and the kid like kicked the ball too far and like it went onto the road. So this is, mind you, what I'm named after, okay? This kid is running into the middle of the road and the sister has to call, Janessa, get back here. And they both went, Janessa? Like they were like, what did you say? Like they just for some reason loved the sound of it. And my mom is so cute. She was like, I just wanted to name you something that would sound good if you were famous. Would sound
knew.
good.
She
I know.
knew.
I was
She
like,
set you
Well
up.
done, Mumsy.
I was like, I know, Mumsy is
You
queen.
didn't stand a chance to.
But I was
No.
like, it's just so funny because yeah, I don't know. It's not like some like really big story. It's like some kid kicked a ball in the middle of the street, and they were like, that's who our child's gonna be.
I
like
mean,
just running in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Let's just name them that.
True.
Like,
Ciaran, do you
Oh.
remember where your name came from?
Not like I know I was
Okay.
mom and dad were under pressure, but like I was nearly named after a freaking footballer, which makes no sense because I'm the most unsporty person I know. I can
Okay.
barely kick a freaking football.
Okay. So how did they get it? They literally, that's Ciaran as a football player?
No.
See,
I
what
was going to
happened
be
was...
freaking Wayne after like Wayne
No,
Rooney.
you weren't. You were going to be right.
No, I was going to be Wayne after Wayne Rooney.
Oh, Lord.
Or maybe it was
Wayne
Ryan
Rooney.
after Ryan what's-his-face.
I think it was Ryan after Ryan Giggs.
It was freaking one of the United
I'm
players.
pretty sure it was Ryan Giggs. He was going to be named
Oh, it
after.
might have been, yeah. But
But what
Ciaran happened because they were under pressure, and I think that was the first thing they
Dad
saw.
wasn't even there. Dad wasn't even...
No, the nurses were like really put pressure on Mam into naming
He was
me.
a few days old, and they didn't have a name yet.
I wasn't a few days old. I was
A
literally.
few days.
So
I
you were
wasn't. I
already
was
in
literally
this
like a
world.
few hours. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
literally like just out, and they were like, "Name him."
So Mam was just like, just Ciaran, name him Ciaran. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just came
No,
first.
no thought.
I love the name, though.
Yeah,
I
well,
really do.
Freaking, you have people freaking calling you Ciaran for 21 years. See how you
Ciara.
feel. Kira.
Oh, yes. Oh, Kira. Love it.
That was her, man.
It's okay. I used to
That
name
was generally her.
I called him Mary Beth as well for a while.
Yeah,
Very best.
I don't even know where that came from. That just came from you.
It annoyed you so much, so I just kept doing
Yeah,
it.
because no one freaking understood the premise of my name for so long. Even in
Sean,
school.
my dad, for some reason, thought Virgil would be a really great name for Sean.
No,
And my
man,
mom
he
said-
ain't no
Yeah,
virgin. He ain't a
I
virgin.
know. And my mom was like, in your wildest dreams, are we naming our child Virgil? And so somehow they got Sean, but then they spelt it what we would call the Gaelic, what you would call the Irish.
The normal.
Irish.
S-E-A-N. But no, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes
Wait, no
names...
father?
Yeah, he doesn't have a father, so
No, just S-E-A-N.
yeah, like traditional
Cian.
Irish would have a father
Father over the A.
Oh, well, we
But I-
screwed up big time.
If it helps, my friend has a name and it's misspelled too. Ev. His name's misspelled on his birth cert.
Is that?
Yeah.
What's this spelled on
Birth
his
cert?
Yeah, his name is genuinely
Abbreviated
wrong.
certificate.
It's meant to be like E-I-B-H-I-N-N, but it's E-B-H-I-N-N.
Oh, well.
So,
By the way, for our
whatever.
listeners, if you hear them say H, it's H.
H. It's not, it's H.
Yeah, see, now you said it, but you said
H.
But usually you say H.
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 H. H. H.
Jen,
Why are you doing this to me? 'Cause you know how self-conscious I'm gonna be.
I'm so sorry. No, I'm just explaining.
I'm gonna go through the entire night now.
And see,
just
then
be like,
I just
H,
apologized.
H,
I
H,
just Canadianed on you.
No, but it's okay because Jen's actually going to...
I
I'm trying
Canadian
to
on you.
talk.
I'm sorry, I think that's what I Canadian on you.
No, Jen's going to provide a thesaurus or a dictionary at the end of this, so you know what we're saying.
Yeah. I mean,
Just a
it's
pop-up.
really
Just
tough.
the
If
translations.
this was a YouTube video, I'd probably subtitle the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
Not gonna lie, but it's a podcast, so everyone's just gonna have to literally do their best. Like, I
They'll
love
figure it out.
No, I don't think it's that hard. I just think
No.
sometimes you'll say ting instead
Ting.
of thing.
Ting.
Thing.
Yeah.
Right. Will you pass the thing over there?
Can you guys say this? Okay, for everyone who's
So
listening.
very Canadian. Okay.
No, it's great. Yeah, you can do it in your best Canadian. For people,
Oh Lord, no! I'm not doing
Hang on,
Canadian.
I gotta get in this.
Okay, your best Irish then. People who
Our
are
best
listening.
Irish?
You mean our own accents?
Yeah, exactly. Your best,
Just
your
say
best
it.
version of your own accent.
Say it your way.
Yeah. Okay, for everyone who's listening, because not everyone watches this, by the way, a lot of people actually listen. We're all wearing plaid right now.
And all our sleeves are rolled
And
up.
all of our sleeves are
It's
rolled
quite
up because
warm.
it is summer and we're drinking hot tea. So we're all just living our
No,
orange
well,
pico
if
life.
you have Irish on a podcast, be prepared for tea.
Yeah,
It's what
be
we do.
prepared
That
for
we do.
tea. When I was in Ireland, I literally went to their nannies, so that was the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
For tea
Our
cake.
grandma.
Our
Okay,
grandmama.
it's okay. I call my grandmother Nana, so nanny.
Yeah.
It's not too far
Yeah,
off.
No.
we have Nana as well.
I gotta-
Nana,
Although,
nanny.
if you say nanny, sometimes here that means like
A
somebody.
childminder.
A childminder, yeah.
Childminder.
No, that's
That's
my
literally
job.
her profession.
That's my
No, I
job,
know,
as
I know.
childminder.
But we never say a childminder. We don't say mind. We don't say that at all. I love it. It's so cute. I'm so
No.
sorry. It's just that I'm so Canadian and you're so Irish. That's what I can't
I
handle.
mean, you
love
know,
it.
20 odd years
We'll
of
say
existence.
like a babysitter or like someone who like watches
I'm not a
children.
babysitter. I get offended at the
Glorified
term
babysitter.
No, yeah, but you also will say, my favorite is you'll say ma. It's like
Ma.
I'll tell me ma
When
when I go home, the
I
boys will
will
leave, the
leave,
girls will
the
go.
girls
Oh my gosh! Okay, she just spilt her tea everywhere, so this is great.
Not everywhere, on me. On me.
Okay, so
right.
now
It's good.
say the slogan for this podcast quickly.
Don't quit your daydream.
Oh, that's not that weird.
Yeah.
You try it, Ciaran.
Don't quit your daydream.
Somehow yours is more Irish.
I say everything less enthused.
Oh, that's because Ciaran spends so long literally mocking the Irish accent
Oh yeah, that's probably
that
what.
he's actually
He's good
developed
at
a thicker one.
a thicker one.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you need me to hold this
No,
tea?
no,
Are
I'm
you
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Also, I tend to spend a lot of my time mocking accents in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had fun with that yesterday.
No, you had fun with that.
Oh, you had great fun with that yesterday.
Yesterday I was in probably... How many accents did I go through? A few.
I went through a couple, mainly
I'm not
English
gonna lie,
stuff,
you
but like
insulted a few
cultures.
cultures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even cultures.
Oops, I'm so sorry.
Just mainly a couple of states, a few countries,
A couple of states.
a couple of states.
Couple
Yeah,
states.
that's true. I did do
Minnesota
that.
would be very mad at you.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry, Tyron, we tried to stop her.
We tried.
Okay, but
And by we tried, I mean
Yeah.
I was taking photos the entire time.
If Taryn is listening, I'm screwed. It's
Oh, yeah.
over. It's over.
Oh yeah.
Love you, Taryn. Oh man, but her accent's amazing though. Like
Yes.
it's amazing. I love a Minnesota accent
Like,
because
not
it's
gonna
just
lie, the first time I was talking to you for a solid month, I was just like, oh my god, their accents.
to me too. What, is
all of
my
the
accent
accents.
like a thick accent?
No.
I feel like mine is.
it's not.
like,
It's not
normal.
like sick Canadian.
Yeah, you're not like stereotypical Canadian. You're
What is, by the way, from your perceived idea, what is the stereotypical Canadian accent?
there's
Go
a
ahead.
moose in the moose.
There's a moose in me hoose. Actually, no, that.
In me who's
In
that's
me
still
who's-
Irish.
I know. I realized after I said it.
There's a
I
moose
was like,
in me
I've
who's.
changed absolutely nothing. I mean,
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
Canada, eh?
Canada, I love
Canada,
it.
eh?
You know what's really funny about this podcast so far is we were going to talk about friendships.
We're going to talk about friendship, and then we're just making.
And so far
we're
we've
taking the
talked
absolute
about
piss out of each other.
namesakes and our culture, which is totally fine. Okay, I wanted to say this before. Sorry, I have to do like my thing. A couple people actually reached out to me after I've only done. By the way, they've never heard my podcast.
We've been
And they're
I downloaded it.
We're
They've
super
never-
busy, okay?
Listen, okay, we've been exploring Vancouver. It's fine.
Yeah.
So a lot of actually people reached out about the podcast and said it was like really inspiring and they really liked it, which that's
Oh,
great.
that's going to go downhill now.
Yeah, now they hate it. Now
Sorry,
no
you
inspiration
guys.
is
There's going
happening.
to be like no inspiration here.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
if we do get onto the topic at hand, it might be.
It might
Yeah.
be. But then the second thing is I was so excited because my whole thing is I'm just trying to, like, I am in literally no position to give anyone advice on how to be a creative by any stretch. We're literally in my parents' basement right now.
It's a nice basement.
It's a nice
It is,
basement,
it's
but
got
I'm
lights.
still not in a. It's got lights.
Yeah. I was wondering what that itch was off that pillow, man.
It's
Freaking
got
all kinds of things.
Lights.
LIGHTS.
HTS.
Or the lights
love
put
you.
up there, like.
It's got lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
It is lit up.
Jenny does not have lights.
Yeah, well, when I was a child, let's not go there anyway, actually. But okay, mind you, there was a couple people who reached out, and some of them said like they actually like finished creative projects because they listened to my podcast, which is super dope. Because like I had one friend who's been writing a play and kind of like putting it off and like whatever, and he was like, "I'm writing it right now," and I was like,
Getting it
"Yes!"
You get this.
So I'm really proud of you. Everyone who's listening and doing anything at all,
We're
literally.
doing nothing right now, I can guarantee it.
Well, that's
They
not
should be
exactly
listening to the
true.
podcast.
That's not exactly true. Okay, well, anyway, so part of the whole idea of this podcast is like being a dreamer, since I am one, and like going after the things that you want and asking for what you want. And one of the subjects that we were sort of starting to talk about, I feel like when I was like, can you do my podcast with me? Is just the idea of like friendships. And it's really, I think this is the perfect conversation for us to have, because our story,
Yeah.
no, not that kind of A, like it's a list A, like an A, like B, C, D,
Like
E.
ah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. Okay.
Intimidating.
Happy grand.
I'll be grand.
Sure,
Okay.
you know yourself.
Okay, the the way that they told me to be Irish is that every time if you don't know what to say, you just say "I'll be grand."
That was Scottish.
Whatever. Oh, okay. How do I do it? I'll be grand.
grand.
No,
I'll be grand.
Abby Grand.
I'll be grand. Sounds like
Close
Abbey
enough.
Grand. Sounds
Close
like I'm
enough.
saying the Abbey Grind, which is like one of our hikes in Abbotsford, but just grand.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
No,
We
no.
hiking up.
No more hikes. No more
Anyways,
hikes. That's true friendship. We hiked for 3 days.
yeah.
True friendship.
Two and
Which
a
is,
half.
you know what's more messed up about the scenario is I don't hike.
None of us do.
I don't. It's not like I'm out here like, oh, Pacific Northwest, like PNW life. No. Like, I just only did it because that's all the activity we have in Vancouver is just nature. Anyway, it's super awesome. But I think we have a really unique story about how we met, which we're going to tell them, which is really embarrassing, but also not. I'm very proud of it at the same time.
Bear in mind, I did tell the security.
We did tell customs,
customs.
integration officer.
About, which you should tell that story.
Yeah.
But I think friendship is really important because we were talking about, like, I think especially if you're a creative, I think in general it's very important, obviously, for everyone to just function. But if you're a creative and you're a person who, like, is, I would just say, going after things that are a little bit more unique in nature, like if you're trying to be any kind of actor, writer, producer, like singer, songwriter, like animation, anything that like requires like really strange hours, or even if it's like not in the arts, but if it's like a sports thing, or if it's like a weird job or something where you have to travel a lot, or something where it's just not like your classic 9 to 5, you go, you leave kind of job. If you have anything that's sort of like out there, like even more so, I feel like friendships are really important because you have so much of your career life that's not stable that if you also don't have any sort of roots in stable friendships, it's just a disaster. I feel like, at least for me, it's a disaster. So, okay, let's start by telling them how we met.
Taylor Swift.
Yes. It's just
Well, that's very blunt.
It's
Taylor
just,
Swift.
it's just
Taylor
the truth. It's just the truth.
We know her personally. She introduced us. It was a great
Yeah,
time.
Taylor
Great
was
times.
like, listen, Jaclyn, this is my friend Janessa. No.
Going to Canada, meet her.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
We're gonna meet her because we met each other. That's the only reason we would ever meet her.
Taylor, if you're watching this,
Listening.
We love you so much,
we flew
fearless heart,
so many
ready
hours,
to go. Yeah.
so many hours for this.
We freaking got delayed in London.
Yeah.
We didn't even see London. We just saw the airport.
Lover comes out on the 23rd. Okay, it's fine.
Shut up.
Tomorrow. No,
No.
2 days from now.
Yeah,
Friday. Lover Friday. Okay. Anyway,
Wait.
we met because of Taylor Swift. Why? Because we were on a Taylor Swift app.
R.I.P. the Swift life.
Yeah.
Rip.
Rip.
It was a bad app anyway.
It kind of was. It
No,
was an app.
not kind of. The second I looked at it, on her phone, not my phone.
Yeah, did you have it?
No, I have standards.
Okay, wow.
I
Shots fired.
just insulted like half of your friendship base. Most of your friendship base.
Okay, well, the point
But,
is,
like,
it was an app,
it was
and
a
it was
bad
kind
app.
of like a Taylor Swift social media. So you
It was
would
a forum.
literally...
It was like a group forum.
It was, but the way that it was fun is that you would go up levels, and each level was a song. It's fine, we're nerds, don't worry about it. But we met because I have a friend, well, we both have a friend, Angie, who was on the forum, and she was posting things on there, and I started to respond. It was kind of like doing like constant statuses, if
Yeah.
you will. So she had one up, and I responded, and I would sort of chat with her occasionally, and this went on for about a month before Angie was like, hey, some of us talk in real life on this thing called, I think at that time it was Telegram.
Telegram, yeah.
Come on to this app called Telegram, and like there's like 20 Swifties, and we all chat every day, and I was like, okay. Like literally, I was like,
Sure,
whatever,
why not?
Who knows? So then I got added to this group, and I was like, this is insane, like the amount of conversations that would happen. And then somebody on that group, maybe it was Angie, maybe it was someone else, was like, oh, by the way, we also have a Snapchat group. So then another probably 15 of, say, the 20 of us, like also were on Snapchat,
Yeah.
snapping each other every day.
And that's when we first heard each other's voices and like actually saw each other.
From across the world, because there's Swifties all over the world that we chat with. And so Jack obviously happens to be from Ireland. I'm the only Canadian Swiftie on our
Yeah.
chat.
Lots of
And
Americans.
Lots of Americans. We have, well,
Judith from Brazil.
yeah,
Yola from Germany.
yeah.
Like, we're everywhere, really, aren't we?
Yeah. So it's like a cool little connection thing. And then what was funny is we were chatting, and I don't know what I thought. I guess I didn't think it through much, really. Because why would you? Just why not? But then it became this situation where, like, my family obviously went traveling last year. So still kind of this year, I guess. And we decided that we were going to go to around the UK and Ireland. And
No,
then
you didn't decide Ireland first.
we decided the UK.
They
my
didn't
parents,
decide Ireland. It
my
was
parents
decided.
really at first wanted to do like London, Paris, and then that got expanded into why don't we just do an entire UK tour, and that got expanded into through Jack's suggestions. Hey, come to Ireland. Come to Ireland. If you're
so close.
If you're gonna be there, you might as well be here. So I mentioned it in passing to my family, and I was like, well, like my friend Jack lives there. And they were like, went to the travel agent and came back and were like, guess where we're going? And I was like, yes! Like, it was the best thing that's ever happened.
Oh, I still remember you snapping me saying that. I was like,
but we, even at that time, we didn't even know where in Ireland. Yeah. So then at that point, we were thinking that...
We would have went anywhere.
I know. We were thinking that you were going to have to do like a 5-hour bus ride or something crazy like that.
Oh, jeez, no. 5 hours away. There's nowhere. I could literally get to the top of the country in 4 hours.
Okay.
Bought my car to the top of Belfast.
Don't quit your day dream. My point is, like, you were willing to go pretty far, but I was just like, I don't know where it is, like, whatever. And then we found out that we went to Waterford.
Yeah,
or as you guys say Waterford.
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 Yeah.
So bad at saying it.
Just no T, just water.
Waterford. Yeah. So we went literally as one of the destinations right to their hometown. So, we met each other, cut to screaming in a hotel.
Getting kicked out.
Getting kicked out, that was my bad.
You were politely asked to leave.
And by we, it was really me. It was really me that got kicked out.
You're so tall!
I was in class, so I had no part in that.
Yeah, my dad filmed it. It's on my Instagram.
Well, I was in class. I'm pretty sure I had a college class.
You did.
Yeah.
It's straight up on my Instagram for anyone who wants to see, because I did not delete that crap.
Don't wear headphones.
Yeah.
It gets
loud. Or just be prepared. Anyway, so we met, and then we hung out that whole day. Yeah. And then, like, we found Ciaran, and, like, he had class, and then, like, we, like, went and explored the entire city. We shopped at Penny's, otherwise known as Primark, if you're from the London area.
Anywhere else.
Yeah, but I think it's just in London, right?
No, Amsterdam.
Oh, really?
Well,
it's not in North America, is it? Or is it in the States? Maybe
it's a European thing.
Okay.
It's a European thing.
But for some reason, Ireland chose to call it Pennies.
Ireland had it first.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We had it first, and then every other country was like, we're going to have one.
But call it Primark.
Too.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I don't know why, but just it's how it is.
Ireland had it first.
We made it.
So, anyway, it was an amazing day, and then, like, we've just been, like, we chatted, like, for a year before that, and now it's been a year basically since that.
Yeah.
They decided, they were like, we have vacation time. Explain that story.
So because we have friends all over America as well, Ciaran and they were like, let's do it. Let's go to America. Let's go to Canada. And because neither of us drive, our plan was, we're going to get a lot of planes.
So many.
Yeah. So many planes.
So much money.
We had it planned out. And then we went to travel agent. It was like, we want 3 days here, 3 days here, 3 days here. We're going to end in Vancouver. And our travel agent was like, no. You're not.
Because they're like, that's not going to work.
He was like, here's the thing.
We'd have to go to other states to get a connecting to go to the other state.
That wasn't really the issue as well. It was like, it was going to cost about $3,000, which we were willing to pay.
No, it was going to cost more.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
No, because coming straight here cost $3,000.
I know, right? You weren't there. I was there.
I was there.
You weren't there.
I was there.
So
basically, he wanted us to pay all the money up front, and we're like, no.
Well, maybe I wasn't there.
Yeah, see, you weren't there. It was me and Mammy. So it was like, you have to pay $3,000 up front. I was like, I have 400 put away.
So that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I was like, it's just not gonna work. And he was like, okay, see, the thing is, we can hold it for you, but we can't hold the price.
Yeah.
So it's like, it can go up in price by a few hundred, it can go down in price by a few hundred, but there's no guarantees of it staying the same. And I was like, that's not gonna work. And he was like, oh, you can cut Canada from the trip. And I was like,
nope.
that's not gonna work.
That ain't
So
happening.
he literally said you can go to all these different states, or you can just go to Canada.
And then
Pretty much.
Then the travel agent and the mammy kind of looked at each other and goes, why don't you just go to Canada? And I was like, sounds good, but I'm going to have to talk to Jenny. And
why don't we just go to Canada for 8 days instead?
I thought it was 10 days. So I stopped you.
Time zones.
Yeah, so I was like, Jenny, how would you feel if I went to Canada?
And I was like, why is this a question? Like, I don't understand.
Come take over my house.
Yeah. Which also, I should mention when we were in Ireland, because my whole family got to meet them, and we had Waterford blah.
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 I love how you now self-correct. Because you know we're going to shout it. So you self-correct too with us.
You say really bland.
I knew that you were going to say that I said it wrong. I can't believe we all three just screamed that. Oh my gosh.
It's like blah, blah, blah.
Blah.
Although,
Blah.
Waterford blah.
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 I can't do it without emotion. I'm an actor. I don't know what you want from me.
Right.
Blah.
You tend to be a really dull, boring person with totally monotone
Blah.
voice. Blah.
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 But you know why? Because I think I do an and you do an
Blah.
Blah. Sounds like a frog. I don't know why.
What kind of frogs did he have? I go blah.
I don't know.
I have frogs that go ribbit.
Okay. Listen. The point is, I don't know what the point is. I've totally forgotten. What
You
was I
came to
saying?
our house.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
and
you-
because my family had met them, my parents were like, "Hey, if you're ever in Canada, come on down." Kind of,
We
and
took
we
that
like
so
took that
literally.
so
Yep.
seriously. And guess what? Boom.
We've been here for the last week.
We're currently sitting on what I've been sleeping on.
Yeah. So that's chill. Okay. So that's how we met. And then also, I should just mention, Ciaran is not in the group at
He's not
all.
No.
But he's Jack's
involved.
brother.
I cameo. I make
And
cameos.
if it's not clear, he's Jack's brother, just so we're clear. And
Some
he...
stranger that was like, let's go to Canada.
Some
I want to
random-
go to, I was in travel agent and I was like, that sounds like a good idea.
So he was featured, I would say, in at least
Yeah.
half the snaps.
That's why I say
on the
cameo.
group.
That's why I say cameo.
Yeah,
I just
so
pop
he
in and out.
basically is an honorary member in the way that sort of Sean is too, but more so Ciaran, I think, than Sean even. Sean, he's kind of like,
Ciaran
whatever,
doesn't
do
have
you?
a life, you see.
Yeah.
Sean has
I-
friends and a social life.
Ciaran has friends, but no social life.
He spent the last week on holidays with his sister.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Tell
yeah.
us.
I don't know if any of my
fair,
I don't know
that's
if any of
what
my
happened.
friends could get like days off of work or stuff. Cause yeah,
Well, this is a perfect segue into talking about friends.
that's my whole purpose here. My whole purpose is just to segue everything.
Yeah.
Just signal over to me. Just start like segue.
So we were talking the other day about friends. Okay, I think Ciaran, you should start by explaining to them. Like you, obviously, we've already mentioned 3 times that you guys do that youth camp thing.
Well,
What-
I do a youth camp, but we do a youth project
Okay,
as well.
Ciaran does a lot of volunteering and
Yeah.
he volunteers
And
like
what
2
does it
places.
do? What does the youth camp do?
Which the youth camp
Hang on,
or the youth
the one
project?
we do together or the one he does separate?
The one that you do separate, I think.
Okay, so the one I do separate is we get a feck load of people
Are we allowed
to.
to swear on this?
Nope, but it's too late.
Wait,
It's fine.
I missed
You
that.
didn't say it. You said it in an Irish way, so it's
You're
fine.
not allowed to swear in this.
No,
Oh,
you
am I not?
You can.
Oh,
it's
okay.
fine.
Maybe I retract that.
No,
He gets a lot of kids.
Look, yeah, not a lot of kids. I get a lot of leaders to volunteer, so I end up with like a lot of friends. But what we basically do is we bring kids who might not have the chance to avail of other summer camps, who could really benefit from one. A summer camp. So you know, if they're really shy or if they have
Okay.
home troubles. You know,
Sure,
we
yeah.
give them a place and they show up for a week and we have great times and we make friendship bracelets.
Oh,
Segue.
Friendship
We make friendship bracelets.
Yeah.
we just
try to
have-
create community for them.
Yeah, that's basically what we do at the youth project as
Yeah.
well, except less friendship bracelets and less people.
But
Right.
that's more hugs.
Lots more hugs.
There's a
So-
kid that comes up to me and goes, "You're breathing, you need a hug." And it's like, I do need a hug.
Your existence requires a hug.
Aww.
It's very nice of him.
Because your passion, Jack, like, we should talk about what's our passions, what's our dreams. Like, I feel like your passion, like we've talked about, is that sort of...
All
like,
the kids.
All the kids.
All the time.
Just service. Like, that's really on your heart, I feel like.
I mean, I spend 6 days a week with kids that aren't my own.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And like, getting to, like... Because the youth program... project, yeah, is also kind of for kids that are kind of underserved in other areas, yeah?
Not really, it's just...
Well, the way it's changing to now, it's going to be. Although, which really sucks, because there's kids that love it, that don't need it, but they still get benefits from it, you know?
We're not
so
going
it's
to
really just a place for, like youth to hang out.
Yeah. Basically, we open our doors, and we're like, come hang out with us. We're pretty fun.
We're pretty decent people.
Yeah.
And then
Despite the alcoholic joke.
Except for the alcoholic joke, yeah.
Although that group really enjoyed it.
They did.
Yeah.
So
Well, they more enjoyed the Phil aspect of it than the alcoholic part. But
because you're not Phil.
I'm,
but you are.
I love how you're like, no, can I just point out, I love the fact that you're like, because you're not Phil. Never mind, you're not an alcoholic. You're not Phil.
So sorry.
Jen has seen things.
I know you. I'm kidding.
Jen has seen things.
You are Irish, but I'm kidding.
We don't talk about that night for many a reason.
Yeah.
Because you can't remember.
I remember most of it.
Yeah. So you were saying, like, I mean, not that I don't want your friends from the camp to watch, because I would love for them to watch.
I'm not going to, like, talk
but
shit.
you were gonna talk.
I caught myself there.
No swearing.
That's why.
Well, it's not
that's why I trailed off. I was like,
Sugar,
honey, iced tea.
Yeah, sugar, honey, iced tea. Well, what, like, because you were kind of like talking about sort of like the difference of you're spending like together, like time every day together, and then you kind of leave the camp, and then it seems like the friendships sort of disintegrate in some ways.
Yeah, see, the problem is, it's because there's so many of them, you don't really develop, although I have developed really good connections with, like, because this is I just completed my 3rd year doing it, so I've developed, like, really good connections and friendships with those who have been on it with me as long as I've been on it. But, like, because of, we're all so busy as well with things, but sometimes we don't get a chance to develop such a great connection because there's so many people, so you develop small little connections with everyone. You know, so it's like, oh, everyone is my friend, but then it's like, but the whole kind of complete bond is there. Kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm friends with absolutely everyone. Like, I wouldn't say, like, a bad thing about a single person.
No. But, like, what do you guys consider then to be, like, a friendship as opposed to... Because here's the problem for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I become close to... I'm pretty trusting and open, and I develop bonds pretty quickly to the point where it's like, oh, they're my friends. But when I realize it, it's because I'm comfortable with them. Yeah. I like them. I think they're good peeps. But I don't necessarily know that means it's a friendship. What makes something a friendship versus just... I don't even... See, to me, like, acquaintance, it feels too cold. It feels like an acquaintance is somebody that you just kind of know. It doesn't feel like you have any personal information shared. But it almost feels like there should be a tier between acquaintance and actual friend. Do you know what I mean? And so sometimes you'll get people who are like, oh, I only have, like, a couple friends.
Yeah.
And it's like... Do they really only have, like, you know, but like, in their definition of what friendship is, it's a lot more close, a lot more deep. So what makes some, and see, then the problem for me is I almost think of best friend as, like, a tier. But most normal people think of best friend as one person. But I almost think of it as, like, a tier.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm a certain amount of close, and then almost further from best friend is, like, just straight up family. Like, when it's just, like... You might as well have been born in this family. Like, you've lived here, this is like, you know, whatever it is.
We're family now!
Yeah. But you know
Mumsy
what I mean?
adopts us.
Yeah, Mumsy adopts so many people. I love Mumsy so much.
Special.
I know.
Well,
But yeah, it's really
I'm friends
interesting
with her on Facebook,
because
it's cool.
it's funny for me what I've run up against is that I have friends or best friends or people that I like really consider high up in the tiers that maybe it's actually not reciprocated back.
Yeah.
And what is that? Like how do you define what a friendship is versus like I don't know what else it could be, but you know what I mean? Because I mean, you and I talked about how reciprocation actually is a huge part of defining friendship. Because if it's only like you giving and never getting any kind of reciprocation, never receiving anything, and I don't mean in necessarily even in the same way, like say you're a person who's like really giving or generous in a specific area, it doesn't mean they have to necessarily give completely back in that one area, but you have to have like the mutual respect of like a reciprocating friendship.
That's exactly it. Like, I think with me though, my whole thing is trust. Like, I'm a really trusting person. Like, obviously, I've told you things and you've told me things. So I expect if I'm going to open up to somebody, I want that person to open up. And I have friends, they're not that they're not trusting, they're not as open as I am. Like, I consider myself a very open book. You ask a question, I'm going to answer it as honestly as I can. I might say, well, actually, I'm not going to give you a full, but I'm going to give you as much as I can. And I kind of expect friends to have a certain level of trust with me too. It's like, I'm going to tell you all my secrets, but then have somebody like, I'm not telling you what. Like, we're not at that level. So I think for me, it's like,
How much do you trust them?
I want to have that bond of, I can talk to you and know you're not going to judge me, and you can talk to me and I'm not going to judge you. It's that trust and confidence in a person, I guess. That's my whole
Have
thing.
you felt like you've had somebody that you've like really trusted, you felt like you had that and then realized you were maybe wrong?
That's called my whole teenage years.
Okay. What made
Pretty
you
accurate,
what
It
made
is
you
pretty accurate,
what
isn't
made
it?
you trust them then, and then what made them change? Do you know what I mean? Or do you think you were just a person who was just trusting?
I'm just a really trusting person.
Yeah.
And like I think I kind of told you about like the history of I didn't have friends for a really long time. So then when people actually like start hanging out with me, it's like, friends!
Yeah.
I
So
always
you
say a weird thing.
No, I loved it.
Try some water.
Oh, tea. How about some tea?
Oh no, tea's
Tea.
not cold, but I'll have it.
I can't find my water.
Okay.
It was there, but
I
now
think
it's gone.
that
Oh well.
it's always,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, yeah, I know, because you talked about in for a long time there, you had no, like, people who were even really talking to you.
Yeah.
And so then when people at all were talking, it's like, that's what a friendship is.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I will do anything they say.
Yeah.
And then, like, I grew up, like,
You
mature.
nearly robbed a car. No, she didn't.
I didn't.
She's
I
not
didn't,
that
I didn't
cool.
go that far. You know, I'm not a cool person. You know this about me.
Neither am I, don't worry.
But,
Don't you worry.
No, I just kind of grew up and I was like, hold up.
Yeah.
This isn't friendship.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not that I distanced myself from people. It's just like naturally growing apart. And then there's some people that I naturally grow apart from. I'm like, oh no, because that was actually friendship. That was a good friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, how do I get that good friendship back again? It's kind of it's very complicated.
And how do you, like, how do you now, as, like, a mature adult, like, find that boundary between the two of, like, this person, so step one, hey, they're talking to me, they're interested in what I have to say, they're a cool person, I kind of jive with them. Step two, but, like, how do you find that trust now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are there things you kind of look out for, or traits of, like, a good friend?
Here's a funny story.
Yes, tell me.
Like when Alana's like my best friend. And
Hi,
all that.
Alana, we love
Hi,
you.
Alana, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but still.
Absolutely not. She'll probably try and talk you into it, but you probably won't listen. Just be like, it was great.
Yeah.
Thanks, girl. It's okay.
Give
Half
a
my
view.
friends,
Give
half
a
my
view.
friends won't listen to this. I tell you right now.
You two currently doing this haven't.
Yeah. So chillin'.